In Autodesk Fusion 360, there are a number of ways to create a hole. One way is to simply use the hole command. If the hole icon is not showing in your toolbar, you can simply go to the Create pull-down menu and find the hole command there. The first step in creating a hole is to figure out which plane the hole should go onto. Next, you should probably enter the correct diameter of the hole. So in this case, we're going to make our hole diameter 25 millimeters. Next, you may want to determine how far the hole goes into the object. So under the Shape Settings and Extents option, there's a number of choices. You can choose it to go all the way through, or you can choose a specific distance. In this case, let's choose the distance as 10 millimeters. There you can see the hole just barely goes through the front face. Now you can choose where the center of the hole should actually be by using the two different reference options. So we'll first select the first reference option, and in this case I'm going to select the top edge of this face, and I'm going to indicate that we want this hole to be 15 millimeters down from the top. That's actually a little close. Let's go with 25 millimeters. And then from the left or right edge, we'll use the other reference selection option and choose either the left or right edge. And in this case, let's make that distance 50 millimeters. So once we're okay with the diameter, depth, and location of our hole, we can click OK to complete the hole command. If you look at the history timeline at the bottom of the Fusion 360 interface, you should see the icon for the box we created and the icon for the hole that we created. So some people prefer to create cylinders and extrude them and have the cylinder subtract the part of the box or whatever to make it the hole. But there's some advantages to actually using the hole command itself instead of using cylinders and the subtraction option. I think the biggest advantage is you can easily edit the hole more so than you can with using a cylinder and the subtract option. So if we right click on the hole icon down in the history timeline, we can choose the edit feature option, and now quite easily we could change the distances, the diameters, the depth, or any of the variables that we put into the hole. So let's say that we want to change the diameter to merely 10 millimeters and hit OK, and voila, the hole has been changed easily like that. Let's say we wanted to change the depth. Again, we can right click on the hole icon in the history timeline, edit the feature again, and change the depth. In this case, let's make the depth distance 25 millimeters. Another advantage in using the hole command is being able to control the type of hole it is. If it has a thread, if it has a counterbore or a countersink. So like the screw thread or the screw head or the bolt head can fit down into the hole a certain distance, those options are available. And we'll not get into that right now, but that's just to demonstrate another advantage of using holes instead of creating cylinders to make a hole. Sometimes you may have more than one hole, and in that case it may be easier to first sketch points onto the face where you want to create the holes. So I'm going to create a new sketch on this top plane, and then I'm going to create some points. So I'm going to use the point command and place maybe 2 or 3 points on here and finish the sketch. Now when you use the hole command, you can actually just click on those 3 points, and you can see it's going to create multiple holes at once. Let's actually change the diameter to something smaller, maybe a 10 diameter, and then we'll pick the 3rd point. And again, you can control the depth just like you could with creating a singular hole. Of course, you can control where the centers of the hole should be by just placing dimensions on the sketch. You could have placed dimensions on the points as you were creating the points originally in the sketch, but I'm just going to go back and right click on the Sketch 2 icon in my history timeline, and I've told it to edit that sketch, and then I can use the sketch dimension option to put in my dimensions. So let's say I want that first dimension to be 20 millimeters for that first hole from the edge, and then I want the holes to be spaced 20 millimeters from each other. Again, you could have done that originally when you placed the points before you utilized the hole command, but either way, you can get the holes spaced accurately.
Would you look at that?